We're here with psychologist and best-selling author Dr. Jordan Peterson. We've talked a lot about his book, 12 Rules for Life, but there are two initiatives he's focusing on as well: understanding myself and self-authoring. Let's hear more about those.
Well, we just talked a little bit about personality differences, and I have a website, understandmyself.com, that enables people to go. It takes about 15 minutes, and you can assess yourself on the canonical big 5 traits: extroversion, neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness. And then each of those is broken down.
So those traits are sort of well established.
They're very well established, cross-culturally.
Right.
Yeah, and they were discovered statistically. They're not ideologically tainted. It's an atheoretical approach in some sense, and it's very useful because you need to know who you are, partly to know what your faults are going to be, you know, what you might need to work on. So, for example, if you're extroverted, it's very hard to spend any time by yourself, and if you're introverted, people wear you out. And if you're a disagreeable person, then you're blunt and harsh and rather judgmental, but very critically minded. And if you're compassionate, well, then people can take advantage of you. You know, so the site's very useful. It's very useful if you want to develop some understanding of the people around you, too. Like, I had my kids do it when they were teenagers, and I thought I knew my kids pretty well, but doing the personality test actually highlighted some things about them that I didn't understand that helped me deal with them better. And so that's Understand Myself. And the self-authoring program, it has 3 parts. It helps people write about their past, because you need to know where you are and what you're doing, and to write about their present, because you need to know who you are. But most importantly, I would say, to write a plan for your future. And people don't generally do that. And so this is a guided writing exercise that helps you decide if you were going to take care of yourself, like you were someone responsible for helping.
Yes,
that's rule 2.
Yeah.
What would you want 3 to 5 years down the road? If your family could be what you wanted it to be, what would that look like? Your career, your education, your constructive and meaningful use of time outside of work, your care for your own mental, physical health, your ability to withstand temptations like sexual behavior and drug and alcohol abuse. And you get to have what you want, but you have to specify it.
Right.
So you're asked to write about that for 15 minutes, and then to write a countervision. If you let your bad habits get out of control, what sort of little hell could you construct for yourself over a 5-year period? And that gives you something to work towards.
It's so smart. You know, the thing that really I find so interesting, just listening to you and having read the book and seeing what you have to say, is that you're coming at things from your professional background that in the end were very similar things that I used to work on when I was working in government, trying to solve these big social policy problems, you know, how to make sure that kids are raised in a stable, loving home, how to give people a sense of direction so that they can, you know, do well at school and then train and get jobs so that we can have a good economy. So these public policy things, I was coming at from a policy point of view. But actually, I think what you're tapping into, and the reason you've had this amazing response, is that going at it from a personal point of view is much more powerful.
I can tell
it's
you
much more powerful than government and politics and policy.
Well,
I see people nodding.
It's certainly a nice adjunct. So university students who complete the Future Authoring program are about 30% more likely to stay in school. And that's particularly true if they're non-Western ethnic minority students. It has a disproportionate impact on them. So that's that was very exciting for us, and so it's a fairly straightforward intervention. And it's certainly, the interventions also, the literature indicates, not research we've done specifically, that writing out a life plan like that is very much likely to improve your health, because it makes you less stressed when you specify the future, and more hopeful because you have something to work for, and also more productive.
It's really powerful. We'll make sure that we'll put all the links and the information you need to follow up on that. Follow us at NextRevFNC and at Steve Hilton X.